I'm not for billions and billions of a pointless wall. If we're going to be smart about it, utilizing technology, focusing on points of entry, that's where the real issue is.
To fill Vice President Kamala Harris's seat in the Senate, California Governor Gavin Newsom's vote was the only one that mattered, and it went to Alex Padilla. The son of Mexican immigrants, Padilla is the state's first Latino senator in Washington. Padilla comes from a political career shaped by historical shifts in California, from anti-immigrant policies to the rising influence of Latino voters. Taking part in the state's Latino mobilization, Padilla turned to Democratic Party activism. He ran for Los Angeles City Council, then the California State Senate, and then ran for Secretary of State. You're still in your, what in normal work is like the probationary period of work.
There's no probation. There was no ramp-up period.
No. Just start immediately.
Raise your right hand. All right, you're on.
Now he's making his mark for Latino political integration in the Senate. You were appointed to fill Kamala Harris's Senate seat. That makes you the first Latino from California to serve in the Senate. That also means there are no Black women in the Senate. What do you say to people who are worried that there's no Black women in there representing the country in the Senate?
Personally, I'll do my best to be the best senator I can for all Californians. But how can I do my part to also uplift, the voices of the Black community, Black women especially?
There are a lot of things that President Biden and Democrats in the Senate and the House want to get done. And the thing that keeps coming back, the filibuster.
The F word.
The F word. No matter what happens in the House, unless Democrats are able to get 10 Republicans, nothing can happen. What are you doing to push your colleagues to do that so you can get something done in Congress?
Yeah, look, and so we got to walk and chew gum at the same time. Look, you want to work on a bipartisan basis. I'm not against that. That's the ideal scenario. So you keep trying. Those of us who already agree we need to get rid of the filibuster, to continue to be vocal about it, keep it a public priority.
Is there any concern about what happens when the Republicans are in charge? Because it will happen. It might not be in 2 years, it might not be in 4, it might not be in 6, but at some point.
We never know when it's going to be.
Right.
Careful what you ask for, because when you're in the minority, what can happen? And I've thought about it, and here's where I land. That's a chance I'm willing to take. If we can deliver on healthcare, on a climate agenda, on voting rights, on immigration reform, on criminal justice reform, then let the voters decide. Why we haven't achieved criminal justice reform is because of the filibuster, right? Just one example. So if we get rid of the filibuster, make progress, that progress is really hard to take back.
Do you think Democrats are doing enough to really find bipartisan consensus?
I was in the Oval Office, 8 members, 4 from the House, 4 from the Senate, half Republican, half Democrat, in a very substantive conversation about the infrastructure package. So the opportunity is there. The invitation is there if we're going to work on a bipartisan basis or not. You can't just say no, no, no. You want bipartisanship, you got to be willing to engage. Democrats, having learned the lesson from the last decade, we'll try to engage, but we're not going to wait forever.
It seems now difficult to see how any kind of big immigration reform can actually happen. So do you have confidence that it can with the current setup?
I am optimistic, right? And there's probably different ways to achieve the reforms we know we need to do. For starters, we have a president in the White House who's willing. The prior 4 years, not only was President Trump not willing, he was counterproductive. He was frankly very cruel. Look, my very first bill as a senator that I introduced, it would offer security and a pathway to citizenship for any non-citizen that's been working as an essential worker. My God, they have earned security and a pathway to citizenship.
What do you want to look back and say, okay, this is the one thing I got done in those 2 years?
Priority number 1 is delivering urgently needed resources to frontline workers and communities that have been hit hardest by COVID-19.
Is the Biden administration doing enough when it comes to what's happening at the border? While the rhetoric has changed, the conditions kind of look a little similar to people as they did during the Trump years.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of the images are all too familiar, right? Look, I think the Biden administration is on track. The very agencies that are in charge of protecting the border have been starved. They don't have the resources. That's why you see the backlog and the conditions that we see on television. So we need to give them the staffing levels and the resources to do the job more effectively.